Okay, so the first in the next category is when somebody says, when you charge them with anti-white and you say, or they say, yes, I am anti-white. So we've had a couple people so far tonight say that, what do you do when they embrace it? When they say, yes, they are anti-white, what do you do? Well, I'm going to ask you all, what is our objective? Why do we bother having these conversations? What we're trying to do, the only reason we're having these conversations is because we want to bring people to white well-being. You don't want to have an argument. The purpose of this is not just to defeat anti-whites in arguments. The purpose is not to just feed your ego by destroying them in an argument. The purpose is to bring people to white well-being. That's the purpose of this. So when someone says to you, well, they say, they profess that they are anti-white. When you say that they are that they are an anti-white, you should just move away. If you are a salesman and you are trying to sell vacuum cleaners door to door to convert them, Rick says this. Is it Rick JMS? Exactly. That's it, brother. You're talking to these people about these things to convert them. That's the only reason we have these conversations. You should not be wasting time doing anything else. If you are wasting your time doing something other than converting people, you're no good to the cause of white well-being. You're just idle. You're just dawdling. And this is just, I don't know, for what, entertainment or something? No, the reason why you're talking to people is to convert them, to bring them over to white well-being, to give them this medicine, to give them this antidote to what they're suffering from. That is why you were talking to them in the first place. So if you meet someone and that person says, yeah, dang right, I'm anti-white, they say something of this nature, then your time will be wasted by talking to them. They have just told you everything you need to know. If you are selling vacuums and you go to someone's house and you say, I have this great selection of vacuums, and they say, I just bought a brand new vacuum, I'm not getting another one. That is the best piece of information you could have just received, because you need to be giving your time to someone who might buy a vacuum, not to someone who is happy with the vacuum they just bought. So you want to immediately move on. This is the most important thing. I've talked about this on Tutar several times, and probably almost a year and a half ago now was the first time I talked about it. When you bring up anti-white, when you're talking about white well-being, you do not waste another breath on somebody who is happily anti-white. You can't convert them. There's no good that can come from that conversation. Now, having said that, is there an audience? Might there be an audience in the future? Is this making sense to you now? Do you see where I'm going with this? Is there an audience, or might there be an audience in the future? If there is one, or will be in the future, you can use that opportunity to compel that anti-white, because he or she has now proudly said, I'm anti-white. No, the point here, I know what many people are thinking, because it's what we always do. Let's debate them. Let's tell them how being anti-white is wrong. Or let's say, well, you won't have your socialism if you get rid of us white people, or you're not going to have these wonderful gadgets. Don't do that. That's not the purpose. Your purpose is, remember, is to sell white well-being to people. That's you're all, I've now christened you all proselytes, salesmen, saleswomen. That is what you all are. That is what I am. That is what we have to do. We have to save these people. So your purpose is to sell. So if a person says to you that damn right they are anti-white, and there is an audience, or there will be an audience in the future, use that opportunity to say to that person, thank you. Now listen to this. You say, thank you for openly saying that you are anti-white, and no longer, like the rest of the anti-whites, being a coward and hiding behind all of these lovely pretexts like diversity is a strength, right? You say that sort of thing because an audience will read that. And now, what will the anti white do? The best thing that the anti white can do in that scenario is to say, right, it doesn't matter. We say that because we just use it to inflict harm. That would be fantastic. If you get an anti white to say that to you, go buy yourself a banana split. And they type that out on the chat, go buy yourself a treat because you are going to win people to our cause. You're going to win people to white well-being when they read that and they see, wait a second, it's not about diversity as a strength. It's not about helping the crying brown babies, but in fact, it is about inflicting harm. Now, as I said a little bit earlier, the anti-white is very often going to couch this as revenge. Good, good. If they say whites should suffer, this is about revenge. We should take your lands. We should have a right to X, Y, and Z. Good. Again, buy yourself a treat. If you get so your objective then is to get them to reveal what really is inside of them. Does that make sense? Because you're thinking about the audience that is listening then or the audience in the future. That is what's important when it comes to having these discussions. Otherwise, there's no use in talking to them. If it's just you and you're on a street corner with an anti-white and he says something or she says something anti-white and you say, you're an anti-white, and they say, yes, I am, just walk away from them. There's no reason to continue to have that conversation. Just walk away. You're just wasting your breath.